With the second arc in One Piece spanning 14 chapters, double the length of the previous arc, they introduced my favorite character in the entire series. Buggy the Clown! With the introductions to Buggy and his crew, the series takes a turn for greatness. Using a dog as a plot device to talk about sentimentality, this arc is definitely one of my favorites. Enter Choo Choo the dog, an intro of the actual dog Hachi. However, not the way you think, because Choo Choo actually knows his owner died. Instead of waiting for his owner like Hachi, Choo Choo is actually protecting his sentimental treasure, which is his former owner's pet store. Choo Choo's owner died only very recently, telling Choo Choo to protect the pet store while he was at the hospital, only he would never return. Boodle is the owner of this town, and his treasure is the town itself. A long time ago, he and a bunch of other old-timers built it from the ground up. Seeing how vicious Buggy was in this arc was absolutely insane to me. When I imagine Buggy, the first word I think of is incompetent. I remember him being obsessed with treasure, but not this much. Buggy the Clown is a certified dickhead in this arc, and it's just so unexpected. He's like an actual villain. And also, if you didn't know this, he's the first Devil Fruit user we meet besides Luffy. This is especially cool to see because he's basically the opposite of Luffy. Buggy can't be stabbed, but he can be hurt through brute force, while Luffy can be stabbed but not hurt through brute force. With the perfect balance between comedy and drama, this arc is how some people even got hooked to the series. I was hooked by episode 4, but I can definitely see how this arc was even more jarring. The amount One Piece is able to accomplish in less than 3 volumes is monumental. I mean, it made me cry in less than 20 chapters, although I do think the anime did Choo Choo's entire story way better. I'd like to start this section off by saying that I'm reading the Viz media translations, and whatever you read might have said different stuff than what Viz did. Choo Choo's treasure is the pet store. Luffy's is obviously his straw hat, and Boodle's is the town he helped create. All of these treasure are because of sentimentality. Meanwhile, Buggy's treasure is lost, but it was materialistic. Buggy's treasure was in the literal sense, or booty, as the Viz media translation says. Gold, jewels, diamonds, all materialistic treasures. He doesn't care about Luffy's straw hat, or the pet store, or the town itself, because he just doesn't understand how something that isn't riches can mean that much to someone. The only idea of treasure he ever had was taken from him, when Shanks quote-unquote made him eat the Chop Chop fruit, or Bara Bara no Mi, which took his ability to swim and therefore made it impossible for him to get all the treasure under the sea. This makes him have a grudge against Shanks and just makes him very salty in general. But it's literally sodium chloride. I would say that the comedy in this arc, while more few and far between, is just super funny. Luffy kicking Buggy's dismembered pair of legs in the balls will never not make me laugh out loud. The panel where Luffy pokes Choo Choo on the forehead and he just bites his whole face has stuck with me for the past year and a half like Gorilla Glue. Bro, I could have fucking dementia and I still remember that. If you didn't know, the little strands coming off of Buggy's hat is actually his hair, just styled silly. The blue on Buggy's face makes him look even more menacing than he already does. I remember my first impressions of him weren't even laughter because of his clown nose and general appearance. I thought he was actually menacing. I honestly never liked Nami. She's always been my least favorite of the crew the entire time I've known the series, especially in recent times when she literally never gets used. But if this is your first read through, you don't know about that yet, so I won't linger on that. I still hate her in this arc. I don't know what it is about it or about her. I just think she's so annoying. She's so forgettable, and I didn't even remember that she introduced the Grand Line in this arc. Zoro, however, is a badass. I know I'm only on like chapter 20 of my reread, but I like him way more than I ever have. When Zoro was like, I'm gonna go to sleep, and Luffy said he had everything under control, it was just so cool to me for some reason. Luffy is so much cooler and way more fun on all of my rereads of just arcs and this reread of the whole series. Honestly, my first go through with the series, he was like my least favorite. As of right now, I'd say that my crew ranking would go Luffy, Zoro, Nami. I think once we get to an arc that might be a little bit fishy, I think that'll change. On to the ranking. Orangetown is a great arc, and way exceeds Romance Dawn in every way. Orangetown will go in the A tier. I think most arcs are going to end up in A, but this is an exception. Obviously, Orangetown will go in front of Romance Dawn on the spreadsheet. That's all for this time. Next week, or sooner if I feel like it, we'll move on to probably most people's least favorite arc from the East Blue, and featuring one of my favorites in the crew. See you then. Toodles!